Thank you all for coming. Let's see. Some of you are new, some of you have been in the group for a while, welcome everybody. And so if you're new, Alan's telling me, if you're new to us and what we're doing here, like who the heck are these people? Alan and I have been spiritual teachers for, 36 years. I don't want to date myself. At this point, it's been half of my life because this year I'll turn 71. And a lot of people say, well, you don't look your age. And I will tell you the reason why. And if you don't want to look your age either, the secret to that is to be who you really are. Because it's only if you're true to yourself, whoever yourself is, that you have access to all of your energy, let's just say. And that's how your body will optimally run, is if you're not blocking your well-being with limiting beliefs and other people's definitions of who you are. If you're running that, then yeah, you're not having full access to all the energy that you could be receiving from whatever you want to call it, source, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. And I think for most of you now who understand, more people now than ever understand how energy works, that we're energy beings, understand about the chakras, energy centers of the body. So it's really all about energy. Are you really running the energy flowing fully? Is it balanced, right? So can you imagine if you're blocked with, let's say, self-esteem issues or poverty, you believe you're not abundant, so you have a poverty consciousness, you're not living in your truth because everyone's abundant. It's just that some people have an abundance of poverty in their reality. They're creating that. But abundance is the nature of your existence. You're just born abundant in certain belief systems. So in this case, for what we're talking about today, I want to help you to open up to a more positive belief system about your loved ones on the other side. And we're going to do that by inviting them to come in and really amplifying the love, because I know they can come in and I know that you could feel it. Now, if you don't, which is possible, okay, it could be that your grief is really heavy right now, and that's okay. That's where you're at. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't feel depressed about it. Just go into that. Okay, but we're going to do all we can to amplify this. I'm calling it this vortex of love, okay? Because that's the nature of existence, is love. That is who you are, is love. And that's certainly who our loved ones are on the other side. They are unconditional love. They are not blocked in their self-concept. They don't have limiting beliefs or definitions, right? They know that they are God's source, expressed uniquely through who they are. And so the more we can understand that, then the more our energies will line up with theirs. Does that not make sense to you guys? That this is a matter of aligning and being in vibrational resonance with who we want to connect with. This is how life is. This is why the people in your life are in your life, because on some level you're in resonance with them, or they wouldn't even be there. So you're creating everything. We're creating our experience with our loved ones on the other side, just like creating our experience with everybody and everything in our reality and all of existence. So this is just about becoming more conscious of that. And one thing I will tell you that I know to be true, because this also is kind of, if you will, law of the universe, is that if you want to experience something, you have to stay kind of dialed into that energy. You have to keep doing it. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want to experience contact with someone in the spirit world, then you've got to do that. It's okay to go read about it. That's fine if you feel like you need some information. But I want to caution you with that, not scare you with that, but just caution you that, because there's so much misinformation right now that I actually, when I work with people, sometimes I've got to deprogram them, and say, well, that's not true, and that's not true, and that was a load of rubbish that you were just. So be careful. What I would suggest you do, and it's really not hard, right? Just trust me on this. Know that you're guided by your own higher self, also your loved ones on the spirit world, including, let's say, a partner, if you're trying to connect with a partner or spouse on the other side, whoever loves you, you're being guided by this benevolent power. But you need to take action on that guidance. It's no good for you to have this guidance accessible to you if you're not willing to take the guided action. So the more you do that, the stronger your confidence in that process will become. And so if you're going to learn anything or read anything, see if you're guided to something. See if this is what happens to me, like something on YouTube will pop up and I'll go, oh, I know I'm being guided to watch that. I'll just feel it. I just know it, right? That happened to me before I even opened up spiritually. It happens to everybody because it's part of your system. It's part of being human in a physical body or a non-physical body, right? It's part of who we are. It's just that most people are not aware of it. So once you become aware of it, once somebody points it out to you, that's all it takes. You just noticing it, like, oh, why did this show up right now? There's no coincidences. Everything is synchronicity. Why, when I thought about what book to read on the subject, why did this book, pop up, and why do I feel drawn to it? Or why did this class draw me in? Whatever it is, just begin to trust it. Okay. You can trust your guidance. And the more you do it, then the more you prove it yourself, and the more you'll see, like, well, that did work out. And okay, now I'm saying, and even if it doesn't work out the way you think it should work out, it could very well lead you to the next thing or the next thing that will be some sort of blessing or give you some sort of epiphany or lead to some benefit for you. So you just want to keep following that guide, because he's saying to me, yeah, you might, even if you misinterpreted the guidance a little off, the fact that you followed that impulse means that the guidance is going to keep coming, because they don't keep giving us guidance if we don't take action. Got it? You got to take action. Don't just sit there and go, oh, I felt this impulse. That's interesting, and do anything with it, because you're not going to get more guidance. The spirit world goes, why should we give you more? You didn't even act on that. So you got to start following that trail of guidance breadcrumbs, if you will, if you want to see how it leads you to the life you prefer, right? So if you want to connect with your loved one in the spirit world, and that's important to you, and you're following this interest, this love, this passion, this curiosity, whatever it is, as long as it feels positive, then it's going to start leading you, saying, well, try this or learn this or do this meditation or whatever it is. So start listening to that, right? Start listening to that. Alan's also saying, and that's the way you start hearing them. Because if you guys only knew how easy it is for non-physical to put thoughts in our head, you would walk around going, are any of my thoughts my own? Do I have any thoughts of my own? Of course you do. But when you are reaching through the veil and they know that, you can bet they're like trying to get through, because they were trying to get through before you even were interested in that. Because that's the nature of existence. We have access to guidance. It's always been that way. Or the world would have blown up a long time ago, because no inspired thought would ever come to anybody, and no miracles would be created. Miracles are to be expected, especially when we follow our guidance. Okay, so start listening to that voice of your higher self, whatever you want to call it. You could call it your soul. You could call it your God self. You could call it, it is part of your spirit guides too, because they're part of you. They're like kind of blended with your energy. That's why they don't feel that different to you. So we all have guides, and you have a main guide, but this is not about that today. But so I want you to just open up to knowing that you're already interacting with non-physical, because you are not physical. You are not a physical being. you are non-physical, expressing a portion of themselves into this body, into this dimension, and this reality. Okay, I know that's a big concept for people to hold, that, but you're bigger than you imagine. You are in heaven right now with all your loved ones. Anybody, everyone who's physical is also on the other side. That's where most of our being is. Okay. And so you can have contact with them. He's saying it is so simple. Once you guys cross over and you realize it, you're going to be like hitting yourself in the head. I'm going like, oh God, I was so thick in my thinking to think this was hard, to think I had to go study it or make it complicated. Let it be easy. Unless you want it to be complicated, that's fine. Some people do, you know, some people their logical mind says, well, I want to figure this out. I want to take the long winding road up through the mountain pass instead of the scenic drive along the ocean that gets me there in 5 minutes. I'll take that long trek up the hill for, you know, a year. I'm not saying it's going to take you 5 minutes. I'm not saying it's going to take you a year either, but I'm just trying to make the point that it can be whatever it is you want to be, because you are non-physical. You are God expressed in this physical body, and you have the powers of the creator. So it's time you start to accept that, or not, you know, that's your choice, right? But if you want this, then yeah, it's time you for accept it. If you want connection through the veil, then I suggest you accept it, because that is the path forward, right? So just kind of get that, you know, I'm saying, we have to lay that foundation. So Alan and I have been teaching for 36 years. He was more the medium. I was always more the channel, but they're related. It's just that I was really focused on channeling my higher self, my guide. I was always interested in my spiritual growth. He would admit he wasn't as much. He would say, I would take a class and he'd say, I already know that. Already know that. And of course, on truth, he already did know that. Just like you already know everything. You just forgot. So we're here to activate your memory so that you'll start remember again. Oh yeah, I know that. What I heard Pam say or somebody else say, or what I read in the book, like, wow, that resonates. I know what that is. So I want you to know, we're kind of, if you will, transmitting the concept and the belief that you will be able to recognize the truth when you perceive it anywhere. When somebody speaks it, when you read it, when you hear it, whatever, you will know. Your higher mind will let you know. You know, oh, that feels like truth to me. I get it. Like, I get it. Okay. Time to wake up. Everything we do is about waking you up spiritually. And secondarily, that will connect you with anyone in the spirit world you want to connect with, whether that's guides, angels, or any loved one in non-physical. Okay. They're in the 5th dimension. We're right now moving from 3rd to 4th dimension. A lot of us are in 4th dimension. You cannot be in 5th dimension unless you don't have a body. So don't say, well, I want to be in 5th dimension. You will be soon when you cross over. Now, that said, moving from 4th, we're in 4th, but that means we're closer to 5th than ever before, right? You don't have to be fully in that 5th dimension to connect, to even perceive, see, feel, hear, because there's a bleed through, isn't there? There's not like you go from physical, and I'm talking in terms of evolution, okay, in terms of our species evolution. We don't just go from, okay, we're physical, and now we're like quasi-physical, non-physical. That is the bridge, okay? And then the evolution of our species is to be more non-physical. In terms of, okay, well, now we're talking about in terms of a planetary existences, like, because there are other realities and there are other species. We are not the only ones in this humongous universe, right? There are other, which call extraterrestrials, whatever you want to call them. Ellen was always fascinated with them. Me a little less so, but as well. But he says now, absolutely, there are extraterrestrials. We are not alone in the universe, and our humans are evolving and moving toward the 5th dimension, where we will be non-physical, just like we are now when we cross over, right? But right now we're not doing that. Right now we're in 4th, but we're bridging. So this is why you can connect with them. This is why you can more see, feel, and hear them. And this is going to increase every day. He's saying every moment. Okay, so okay, all right, I told him, I let him talk a little bit. He says he would suggest, if you're interested in that, to understand, then every moment you're creating a new reality. Every second, there is like a movie with its film, right? The strip of film. Every bit of that is being played out in your life, like in fragments. So don't get caught up in that. Just understand that things are moving quickly and changing quickly. So if you want to open up to connecting with anyone in spirit, then just go into your imagination, because that's how you open the door to it. That is not make believe. That is your creative power. You were told your imagination wasn't real because the powers that be for centuries wanted to hide our power from us. But that is actually your God creative power, because you can't create something unless you can imagine it. So when you can imagine communicating or being with or seeing, hearing, whatever, anyone in spirit, again, whether it's a guide, an angel, a loved one, you are opening the door to it. You're letting that, you're matching, he's showing me that you're matching that frequency of it, the experience, right? So you are making it more likely that you will become on a vibrational, be a match to it, and then it will show up in your reality. That's the way you create. You have to be able to see it and feel it and be there and lend your imagination, your creative imagination, to then manifest it in 3D form. So let yourself daydream about it. Let yourself daydream that you are with whoever you want to be with, right? Because they meet us in our mind, because they're consciousness. Doesn't that make sense? We're consciousness that never dies. So if they're consciousness, then yes, we interact on that level of consciousness. And yes, we do that when we dream too. But you can also do that when you're awake. Do that deliberately. Have that daydream. You want to have full contact? Spend as much time as possible daydreaming that you have full contact and how that would feel. Spend as much time as possible, whatever time you have, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever you want. You are seeding that, okay? You are lining up your energy with that. And sooner or later, that has to show up on some level, even if it's just momentarily or whatever it is, it has to show up in your physical reality. But it doesn't show up here first unless we're a vibrational match to it. Okay, your being is what manifests reality. So we have to work on the inside if we want to see something on the outside. And I think enough of you have learned about, law of manifestation, law of attraction, all that, to understand that, oh yeah, it's about vibration. It's about I have to be in resonance. So everything that's happening to me, I'm in resonance with, whether I'm conscious of it or not. Some of it's you're unconscious, like, oh, why do I have this crappy thing happen to me? Okay, I'm in resonance with the energy that manifested that outcome that I didn't want. But the good news is you can change that. So don't bemoan the things that are unpleasant that you created. Just remind yourself, all right, if I was powerful enough to create that, I can create something I do prefer. All right, so what we all prefer, I'm assuming, and if you don't, Alan's saying it's time to leave. If you don't prefer this, is if you prefer to connect with the love from the spirit world. And again, it doesn't have to be a loved one. It could be, you want to feel the love from your guides. You want to feel the love from your own higher self. That is perfect. You want to experience your own self-love. Perfect, whatever it is. But we're connecting with love from non-physical realm, right? So if you don't want that, then leave. Otherwise, we're assuming that's what you want. So we're going to kind of create the space and the state for that. And again, if you're feeling heavy grief, just do your best and know that that could be a barrier. I don't want to program you to think it will, but that would be the only thing that would get in your way. The good news is, as you continue to process your grief, you do that by simply letting yourself feel your feelings. And as you do that, then you make room for that love to come in. That's what Alan told me. in the early days. He said, just cry when you feel like crying. Don't ever hold it back. The faster you can just do that, not to have to do it fast, but the more you can do that, he says, then the more love I can come in with. It's almost like and he needed to make room. So you can imagine if you're filled to, overflowing with grief and you're bottling it up because you don't want to feel it or whatever it is, you are not going to have any room to feel their love. So, and that's not going to go well for you. So let it go. Let yourself cry. That's processing it. You don't have to go to therapy unless you feel you want to. That's fine too. But processing means just giving yourself permission to feel what you feel and trusting that on the other side of it, there'll be another emotion. I promise you, you cannot cry forever. You will take a pause someplace, whether it's 5 minutes later, an hour later, 3 hours later, whatever. You can't do that forever. Just like you can't feel happy and joyful all the time either, right? As much as you want to, you can't keep that going. So let it be just as ebb and a flow, whatever it is. Just go with it and know it's all perfect. I'm processing. I'm getting through it. It's all beautiful. It's part of being alive. I signed up for this. It's okay. It's going to get better. I don't know how. I don't know when, but I know it'll get better. And I promise you it will. What I've noticed with myself and other people that I work with is when you go through a time that's really tough, like in your mind, you say like, wow, this is really the pits. Like, I don't know if I can come through this. Like, it's so devastating. It's so hard that usually ends up taking you in, launching you in a powerful new direction. That always happened to me. Like I just had a breakthrough. So let yourself have that breakthrough. It's like pulling back a rubber band, and then when you let it go, it just flies across the room. It's like that going to that depth of despair can launch you into a more powerful place. So let it do that. Let it do whatever. Let yourself have the experience you're here to have, and don't try to micromanage it. I mean, it's okay for you to affirm things. That's not micromanaging it. That's actually more like tweaking it, in my opinion. Okay. Don't insist on your experience being a certain way. Let it be what it is and see the good in everything. And lastly, before we start the exercise, I know this is a really difficult idea to hold. Okay. I get it, what I'm about to tell you. But this is the nature of reality and how existence works. Okay. So that everything that happens to us, even the things that are horrific, like losing a loved one, or suffering something, some sort of abuse or some sort of trauma, whatever it is, one could imagine, okay, that would be terrible, be devastating, heartbreaking, painful, struggle, whatever. Every experience has within it a gift of taking us somewhere where we wouldn't have gone to if we hadn't gone through it. Okay, and in the case of losing a loved one, right, potentially you are standing there with the opportunity to really understand what is the meaning of life and who are you as a soul? What is existence, right? That's what you can ponder, or you can go into denial or go into depression and just say, this end of the world, end of my life, and, and be done with that and not want to look at it at all. I'm not saying it's good that your loved one dies. I mean, I would never say that it was good that Alan died, although he teases me and he was safe on the other side. But isn't it better that I'm dead? Because I'm a lot nicer to you now. and I can do more for you now. And I say, well, honestly, that's true. That's true. I'd rather you were here being that way in a body, but that's just my preference because, hey, it'd just be more fun for you to be here in a body. But if you find yourself reaching through the veil for a loved one that you miss, okay, you signed up for that because nothing happens unless we are in agreement with it. So look for, what am I learning from this, gaining from this? How am I benefiting from it? Or how can I benefit from it? How can I take this and make it into something positive for me? Okay, in spite of the loss, because you have the loss anyway, don't you? You can't change that. So how can we make it positive now that we have it? right? And one way is to connect with them through the veil to prove to ourselves that, okay, they're still here and I can connect. And yes, it's going to be different because they're not in a body. We have to get used to the fact that they're not physical and have a more spiritual experience of them, okay, which we can do. Now, it's going to be different, obviously. It can be exquisite. It can be extraordinary. It can be whatever you want it to be, except 3D physical. And yet, I'm here to tell you, it can be sort of physical too, just not the way that you're used to. You can have physical sensations. I've had that with Alan. I've had other people tell me the same thing. I have people who have, let's just say, okay, again, not the same like when they're in the body, but definitely physical evidence of contact. And if one person can, for example, which I know a real example, feel their partner making love to them, okay, like without a doubt, like, okay, this happened to me. I'm not trying to make it happen. I'm not imagining it. That means anybody can. If one person can do something, everybody can do that. It's a question of getting your thoughts and beliefs aligned with that possibility, right? And then staying the course and seeing this as, you know, as this is my new life, I'm creating this new experience and not being afraid of it. Okay, Alan says, okay, he says we've pleaded our case long enough. Like we're in front of a jury going, okay, Your Honor and jury, this is what we're trying to say. We want you to render he says an impartial judgment in our favor and say, okay, I agree. You don't have. He says, we'll just get focused now. So I want you to, wherever you are, try to get comfortable, right? You don't have to lie down. If you want to lie down, that's fine. But just get comfortable. If possible, if you're somewhere where you won't be disturbed, that's great. And if you will be disturbed, that's okay. You can, if you're in our group, you can watch this again. I think we're going to be sending the video out to everybody anyway that's on our email list. And if you're in our group, you'll see the live, like they're watching it now in the group. So don't worry. Like if you get disturbed by it, you can come back and do this exercise again, right? And Alan's saying he wants to point out to you that even if you don't think you got it right, you can't get it wrong. You just can't. Your intention to connect launches everything. That is your power as a creator. You just have to say, this is what I want. The universe has to say, here you go. It can't say no to you. You could say no to you. You could say, well, it's not going to give me what I want. And then it won't. Okay, you're the one. Only you, nobody else, only you. So he says, don't do that. Just don't do that. You don't want to do that. So close your eyes. We're going to take 3 deep cleansing breaths. Okay. In through the nose, out through your mouth. Take your time. And with each breath you take, feel yourself getting more and more relaxed. Feel yourself getting centered. Let go of any stress, worries, or concern. Just let everything go. And let yourself relax, relax, relax. Feel your head relax. Feel your neck relax. Feel your shoulders relax. Feel your arms and your hands relax. Relax your chest. Relax your stomach. Relax your pelvis. Relax your thighs, your legs, and your feet. another deep cleansing breath. And on the exhale, release any remaining stress or energies that do not belong to you. Just let them all go. Know that you are safe. Know that you are worthy. Know that you are the perfect expression of God's source in this moment in time. And now focus your awareness on your heart. Bring all of your awareness there to your heart space. Feel into the beat of your heart. Know that this is your true brain. It is the seat of your soul. It is the place from which we connect with all that is, including our loved ones and our spirit team. So take a breath in and open your heart wide. And if you want to place your hand on your heart just to get more in tune with it, go right ahead. Whatever you feel guided to do is perfect. Trust yourself completely. Let this experience be joyous. Let it be easy. Let it be beautiful. Just as you are beautiful, as a soul, as a being. How could you not be? You're an expression of God. So as you have all your awareness in your heart, I want you to imagine before you a bridge made of crystal, or maybe it's made of rope, or maybe it's made of metal, or even steel, or brick. But imagine a bridge. Let it form effortlessly. And if you can't see or imagine the bridge, just know it's there. Just by your thinking the word bridge, a bridge is created. So relax with the imagery and know whatever you see, feel, hear, or imagine is perfect, is real. So as you imagine and feel that bridge in front of you, see or feel yourself walking across that bridge. Or just know that you're doing that. And just feel yourself walking along it. Can you see where the bridge ends? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. It doesn't matter. But know that it extends out before you. Know that that bridge reaches to the spirit world. And just keep walking. Or if you've stopped already, that's fine. Just feel into the energy of this place between heaven and earth. And although everything in truth exists together, and there is no over there and over here, we are using this experience to just feel into the shared experience of connecting with our loved ones in spirit. But it is real because we've created it to be so. So when you feel like you want to stop, just stop. Maybe the bridge turns into something else. Maybe the bridge turns into a room, or it takes you to a garden, or to the ocean. Maybe it leads you somewhere else. That's fine too. Just know that whatever you experience, that is the place that you're meeting and connecting with whoever it is you're intending to connect with. So just be there. Again, just feeling it, seeing it, hearing yourself there maybe instead. Just be in this experience to the best of your ability and just trust. And more importantly, open your heart as we call in our loved ones and our guides and angels to come in. And if there's a loved one that you want to particularly connect with, we invite that soul to come closer. And let them broadcast their love to us as we broadcast our love to them. So send your love. Feel all the love you have for your loved ones, your spirit team. And what you have for one soul, you have for the all. There is no real separation. So express and feel your love and receive their love in return. And it might come in as goosebumps, chills. Might feel like a breeze passes through you. You might feel heat. You might feel coolness. You might feel nothing at all, and that's okay. If you're having any difficulty, just imagine what it would be like to feel their love. And trust what happens next. And know that once you've come to this place, once you've experienced your bridge to heaven, you can always return to it just using the power of your thoughts, of your intention, just by imagining it, visualizing it, seeing it, feeling it, hearing it, sensing it in whatever way it comes to you. It might be different next time. That would be perfectly normal because in every moment you're different. You just don't always notice it. For that is the nature of existence, constant change, constant evolution. So Feel their love blending with yours. If there's something you want to ask of them, go ahead and ask in your mind. If you'd like to have more contact with them, ask for that. If you feel in agreement with this statement that I'm about to make, ask them to guide you, to be more obvious and clear in their guidance. Our job is to just trust what shows up in the form of guidance, nudges, impulses. If you want to, you can make a decision from this point forward that you are going to trust whatever intuitive impulses you get. You cannot have a negative impulse, meaning one that has ill intent. That is impossible. That doesn't mean what you experience is always going to be, quote, positive, because there might be some challenge we need to go through in order to move forward and grow. But still, the intuitive impulse will always be ultimately for our highest good, leading us to create the life we prefer from the level of our higher self. So if you feel comfortable doing so, make a decision that you're going to trust your intuition. If you say it will never lead you astray, it cannot. That is how powerful you are. If you say it might lead you astray, then you'll create that. It's up to you. You set the rules. You create your reality, all of it. And yet, yes, there will be some things that you're destined to experience because you chose to. So some of those things might be challenging, like the loss of a loved one. So it's up to you if you want to turn that into something positive and beneficial for your own growth, or expansion of your consciousness. All I can tell you is I know they want that for us. They want us to live heaven on earth and not wait until we cross over. Take a breath in. Expand your awareness to embrace all this love, to fill yourself up with all of this love. Take it all in into every cell of your body. Let that love upgrade you, heal you, balance you, restore you, rejuvenate you. And know that this love is always flowing to you. It's just a matter of you opening to perceive it, letting it in as best you can. So now I'm just going to have you slowly begin to bring yourself back into your physical awareness, still connected to this love, okay, because it doesn't stop flowing. It was always there. We simply fine-tuned our connection to really dial it in so we could pick up on it, but it's always there. They're always beaming love to us. It's we who sometimes can't feel it because we're doing something else, we're preoccupied, distracted, whatever. or we're really in, again, a place of grief, which is okay, but that is a lower frequency, and so we can't pick up as easily. But we need to be there sometimes. Okay, don't look at grief or sadness as the enemy. You want the contrast of life, so that when you feel the joy, you go, wow, that is such a different feeling, right? But you can't have the joy without the sadness. You can't have the light without the dark. And the light is more fully illuminated in the dark, right? Like in the night sky. That's why you can see the stars, but in the day you can't because there's only light. And at night, then you can see the light. So let your light shine. You can see through the darkness. You can feel, see, hear, experience the other side. So I hope you experienced something. If you did, let's know. I'm not looking in the chat. I should be, but I wasn't looking in the chat. But okay. Anyway, I'm not really going to read what's in your chat because we're getting close to the end. But I'll look at it later. And if anybody posts something that they want to know, I will respond in the Facebook group. But you can repeat this. You don't even need us to guide you through it. I mean, the reason it helps is because when we come together, we create a bigger field, but you can do this on your own. You don't really need anybody. This is what they like, the spiritual teachers like to call, this is a permission slip. You're giving you permission to have this experience, say, oh, okay, I'm doing this meditation, it's going to do this for me. And then because you say it will, it does. But you're the one that defines it. It's not magically going to do that. If you didn't agree, right? Like if you came to this and you go, this is a load of rubbish, it wouldn't work for you because you're not in agreement with it. You're not in resonance with it. So, it's not going to be a permission slip for you because you go, I don't believe this. Great, that's fine. It's not for you. But it doesn't mean it doesn't work for somebody else. Oh, Gail says, I she had Alan meet her at the beginning of the bridge. He said, come on, don't wait to be guided. Yeah. When we teach channeling, which we will be doing, he just told me today, he goes, well, I can be somebody's guide. I go, okay, that's great. And he says he already is. He already is acting as guide for some of you. And some of you know that. Some of you are aware of it. Some of you told me. So, and I've actually been told, and this trips me out. I was told when Alan passed over, I was told by, Swati's the one who told me, I'll spill the beans and say, sweet, she told me. She goes, you do know that all your life you have acted as a guide because remember, we're in the spirit world as well as here, right? We're in all everywhere. Like that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, that really is nature reality. And she says, well, you do know you've been a guide to people. And she told me, I won't say who it is. She told me somebody well known who she says, you've been a guide to this person. But you're the one that really knows this information that you're guiding this person on. And I said, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then I thought about it later, and I recalled how in the years I would do readings at the store called Sedona, which was then at the Word Center, that's where I met Alan. And I worked there for many years, or 30 years off and on. But when I would work there, I'd have people come in all the time and say, I feel like I know you, or I saw your photo and I knew I had to see you. And to my knowledge, the other readers didn't have that happening all the time. But every day practically that I worked there, practically somebody say that to me. I saw your photo and you seem familiar to me, or I feel like I know you, or I just knew I had to see you. Okay. It didn't mean I was the busiest reader there, because I'm not like a conventional psychic. And I always knew that you can't really predict somebody's future. You're just programming them. You're just picking up on the strongest likelihood of what's going to happen. And that it could be, to their detriment if I even told them, because two things are going to happen. One or two things going to happen. They're going to say, well, maybe three things. But anyway, they're either going to think, oh, well, that's going to happen. It's a done deal. I don't have to do anything for it, which then is going to mean it may not happen because they think it's guaranteed, or they think, they freak out and go, well, I don't want this to happen. Like, how do I change that from happening? But they still manifest it because they're in fear. It was just really problematic for me because I come from a spiritual perspective. So I knew that psychic readings are not always to somebody's benefit. The only reason, I will tell you this is what I know from all these years. The only reason to ever have a reading is to see if you're on the brink of creating something that you do not prefer. That is the only reason. Better to do that, because if they tell you something, like, I remember Alan's reminding me of somebody that I know, she was told by a very famous psychic in Honolulu. Most people in Honolulu know who this person is. This person told her that her house was going to get burglarized and what was going to happen. So my friend freaked out and I said, we're changing that. She goes, what? I go, we're changing that. That's not going to happen. It doesn't have to happen. She says, can you do that? I go, yeah, we can do that. And it never happened. Okay. It only never happened because I told it wasn't going to happen. That's how you change your reality. That's how but I didn't see that was what she was on the verge of creating anyway. What I saw was that psychic was just projecting her own fear on this person, my friend. And so I got pissed off and I said, well, we're just changing that. So it never happened. Okay, it just never happened. So if you want worrying that you're creating something you don't prefer, then have a reading. But there's other ways that are easier to create what you prefer. And that's what we teach about, how to create what you prefer. Okay, because you are a powerful creator and you're creating from your beliefs. So Alan says, all right, that's enough for today. We will talk more about manifesting, but you are you can't help but manifest. You're manifesting all the time. So if you want to manifest this relationship through the veil, then visualize it, imagine, go into it. We laughingly say, and yet we're serious about this, be delusional. Be delusional. Create whatever you want. Imagine that world. See yourself with that experience. We're going to, in our academy group, but I'm just saying this because a lot of our academy members are on this Zoom right now. We're going to start working on scripting, where you write the story of the life you prefer. If you start though by writing the life that what you don't prefer, right? Like what's going on now that you don't like what you really can't stand that you want to change. So there's a process to this where we pull up like everything that we don't like about our life, what we have trouble with, and we are going to like tear that down, and then we're going to replace it with the story of what we do prefer. So we're going to work a lot on scripting and writing a new story, because when you write a new story, you are creating it. So with our academy, once they determine, okay, this is my story, and we're going to have them even tell their story, like expressing your story audibly to somebody. Anything you can do to put energy behind the new story that you want to create. In our cases, it would be having this relationship through the veil, right? Telling the story, seeing ourselves in the story, living it like we're living in the movie, right? Being in it. That is what helps it manifest. And the reason we have the current conditions in our life that we have right now, whatever they are, whether we like the conditions or not, is because we've been telling a story that set it up that way. Or keep thinking about the story that we see unfolding every day, right? We keep thinking about. So we have to write a new story. That's all. That's all it is. Your life is just a story that you're writing. A lot of people are doing it unconsciously. So we're just helping everybody write it consciously, so that because you can, and therefore you can change your reality, change your experience. You can manifest a relationship with anybody, anything, not just your loved one in the spirit world. You could manifest a job you want, whatever it is, starts with you understanding your power and telling a new story. And maybe, also dismantling some of those limiting beliefs that you've been unconsciously probably creating your story from. Because that's the only thing that blocks you from manifesting, experiencing what you prefer are your limiting beliefs. So, okay, Ellen wants me to say one last thing, and then we're going to sign off because we're almost at an hour. If the idea of direct communication or contact with someone in the spirit world, whoever that is, okay, if that idea fills you with excitement, great. That means, you're on the right frequency. You're following your joy. You're following this. This is something that is definitely possible for you because you're feeling that excitement, right? Some of you might think of this and feel instead anxiety, like, okay, like, and yet that is good too. That is like you have some sort of limiting belief that is being translated, if you will, as anxiety, emotional anxiety. Because for you to feel something, whether it's excitement, right, interest, curiosity, or anxiety, means this is something the higher mind, your higher self wants to explore. It's just if you're feeling anxiety or fear, you've got to work on your beliefs. If you think of this and feel nothing, well, then that means you're not interested at all, right? Then you wouldn't even be here. You'd be like, this is boring. I don't want this. Like, but anxiety, that's good. That's an emotional response. That means like, whoa, you're still feeling drawn, because otherwise, again, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be thinking about it. You wouldn't be doing this exercise. You'd be out of here. But doing it, you feel anxiety, that means you have some belief work to do. You have to clear that. That's what we do in our academy. You can do it some other way. You got to find a way to clear that, or you won't be able to experience it. But either way, either emotional response means that this is something that your higher mind, right, your true self, is wanting. And that means this is part of who you are, because it wouldn't call you to that if it's not part of who you really are, truly are. That's how the universe works. That's how consciousness works. It calls us toward things that are for us to experience, to become who we are, even if it doesn't make any sense to us. Like, it made no sense to me when I felt guided to watch this person channel this entity. And it was very weird. And the people I was with, they were like shaking their heads. They thought it was kind of interesting, but none of them ended up taking the class that I ended up taking, because I felt really drawn in. And even though I didn't understand it, I knew enough to be able to tell that if this was something was drawing me in, it must be good, because I didn't have fear about these kind of things. I don't know why. Alan's saying, Alan is saying, I chose to be born into a family that would support that would support me being open-minded. And not that I was perfect or they were perfect, but when I had that experience, I just knew it felt right. And so I went with it. And I kind of lived my life like that most of the time. Not all the time, obviously, but a lot of the time. So you can do that now too. Just start trusting what you feel drawn to. What are you curious about, interested in, passionate about? What makes you excited? What feels like love to you, right? What has this positive energy to it? Follow that, the trail of guidance, breadcrumbs, or energy, the positive energy, okay? It will not take you in the wrong direction. Even if you run into an obstacle, don't expect life to be completely free and easy. You didn't sign up for that. You didn't. Nobody did. Nobody did. You know that. Everybody's had challenges. Okay. You came to have this exhilarating story of your life. And what is a story? A story has a hero and it has an antagonist, right? Otherwise, there's no story. the people are born and they get everything they want and no problems and every day is a sunny day and instantly get what they, well, Alan says that's heaven. That's heaven, where snap your fingers, get what you, and there is, and you can go there and be there. But here you came to have the story, which has the antagonist, the protagonist, has the surprise, you know, the cliffhanger, something happens unexpected, like another problem comes up, and then they solve that problem, and then something else comes up, right? Isn't that right? And we love those movies, we love those stories that we're kind of at the edge of our seat, like what's going to happen next? Like, oh my God, that just happened. That's what you came for. But you can be scripting it, but when you script it, we want you to script in the excitement. It's not going to be some boring, you know, thing where nothing changes. And you want to discover things, you want to experience life, and know that even when you hit a roadblock, you wanted that challenge. Like, okay, how am I going to get through this? Guess what? You'll get through it because you got guidance. You knew that. I'm gonna have guidance. It's gonna show. We're gonna troubleshoot. How do I get through this? What would be the creative way to deal with that problem? Ooh, this is gonna be good. How are we gonna figure that out? So when we can start looking at life, even with the things that are crappy, like losing our partner, like what can I write of this to make this amazing story that is going to lead to the further expansion of my being and my soul. And I'm contributing that to all that is. I'm bringing that when I cross over to all that is. We're bringing our unique experience as a gift to all that is to further expand God. That's what we're all here for. And every person's story is beautiful. Every person's story is unique. And it's all, and what's Alan saying? He's saying to me, and every piece of everyone's story is necessary for the full expansion of God, because we are God. So, all right, I've talked long enough. If you have questions about this exercise, you know, leave them here below, or you guys can email me if you're not in our group and you got an email. If you got an email and that's how you got here, then you know how to email me. And if you don't, if you found this some other way, you can contact me through our website. You can contact support at supernaturallove.com. Contact my VA, because this will probably be on social media somewhere. But anyway, thank you. I know I didn't open up for questions or anything. That's why I said, if you have questions, leave them here wherever you are. But otherwise, send you our love, and we hope that you felt the love, not just from ourselves, but from everybody. So until next week when we go live in the group, take care, and we'll see you later. Okay, bye-bye.